Hey ladies and gentlemen, as promised in my previous video regarding the casual game modes in Sandstorm, here are my takeaways for the competitive firefight theater from the Sandstorm beta. Speaking broadly, the beta nailed the game mode for me in terms of the way it's supposed to play. The new maps are brilliantly laid out so that although they feel larger with more flanking options for both teams, the objectives are still spaced in such a way as to be visible from one another. This is so important when talking about adaptive gameplay and the importance that impact players can have when being on rosters mainly filled with supporting teammates. Because the meta has always been to have control of the map yet not waste the captures so that you can have your spawns later on, this will allow teams to play AC strats more frequently than before in Source, where the B objectives were so central and overwhelmingly powerful that it made playing AC irrelevant. That being said, B is still very powerful to play at the start, and I believe will be the original meta that teams go towards. I do want to note, however, that on the map Town, the B objective is a little security based with its snug proximity to the huge building that kind of blocks the insurgents from it, and although insurgents do get some decent flanking routes around it, the security get to kind of just anchor back, and they can not only get right onto it from a straight line, but can also push through it. And then, like I said, if they're anchored in the back and they've pushed straight through it, that kind of cuts the flankers in half, and it's just really security biased. Also, Refinery's B objective seems to favor security side a little bit as well, but insurgents can counter that a lot easier, I believe. Speaking of countering, I have to talk about how amazing the hitboxes felt when I played, barring the server lag spike. In Source, the head hitbox is horrendous whenever a character model is leaning, proning, or jumping, but in Sandstorm, my hit ridge felt super clean. I will say, whatever adrenaline mechanic was introduced to boost the sprint speed after getting a kill or being suppressed doesn't seem to be balanced properly, because to me it's insanely OP, but what also might have made it look like that were the server spikes. I can't tell you how nice it felt to be able to one-tap players that are proning on top of hills in this game, because in Source that feat is nigh impossible. And part of the reason I learned how to flank is from having to deal with issues like that consistently throughout my experience. The added recoil in this game also feels balanced when compared to the movement and hitboxes, as I was consciously having to 2-burst or 3-burst my full auto on targets instead of just spraying and pulling down. One thing that I think made me a tiny bit frustrated in regards to the movement was how quickly the heavily armored players were able to move. In Sandstorm, armor is actually useful, but the heavy armor is insane when you consider how light its weight is right now. I was tanking 5 to 6 shots from Uzis, MP7s, and 7.4Us at medium range, assuming they're all on the body, but with that kind of durability, I should not be able to reach lanes around the same time as no armored players who are running nothing but a kitted rifle. The balance of armor versus the weapons at the different ranges feels great, but the speed that it retains despite that fact is really imbalanced, and honestly I think the only tweak that's necessary is to add a little extra weight to it. The fact that I even went out of my way to mention the heavy armor should give some credence to just how powerful it is. Now that we've covered both the hitbox and the movement topics, I want to briefly touch on the weapon choices that are available for both teams. Security, I think, has the better flanker class and assault class, whilst the insurgents seem to really only have a dominant sniper class. I say dominant because on several of the maps I personally found use in the sniper role, but the Mosin is just fantastic in this game. Fucking incredible, if I'm being honest. Almost as incredible as the FAL, which in my opinion is its only shortcoming is the lack of extended mags, but I think that it's also balanced when compared to the security side's options. The security's flanker, however, has way better damage output than the insurgents in my opinion. The Mark 18 and MP7 are both superior to the AKS 74U and Uzi on almost every front, it feels like. The only viable option for insurgent flankers is the shotgun, which is incredible, by the way. This game actually makes shotguns useful, but if you're not going to use the shotgun, you've got to use the 7.4U at very close range. Again, I don't have any real suggestion regarding balancing the two classes, except maybe upping the base damage of the 7.4U, but you know, besides that, I really have no complaints about the weapons on the teams. I would like to maybe have the option to replace the M4 for the Mark 17 or SCAR on the security assault class, but that's just a personal preference thing. Also, I would be very happy to have dedicated Hunter Tech servers for the competitive matchmaking. Like, very happy. That is all. regarding that topic. I do also need to see an addition of the confirm match button for the comp matchmaking. That way there aren't AFK people who leave their accounts in the queue for a game and end up joining the server but never fully connect or select a loadout. Although I'm sure that this will be in the final game, there also needs to be a cooldown penalty of at least 15 minutes for those players who leave the matches early and or get vote kicked out of them. If you can't handle competitive, don't queue for it. Everybody should be striving to win in that game mode. Having trolls and rage quitters punished will be a good step in legitimizing the whole process. In closing, I'm super excited for the future of Sandstorm, both from a casual aspect and the competitive point. Personally speaking, the competitive means a lot more to me than the casual, because I've longed to see other players enjoy Insurgency at a higher level, both individually and in a team setting. Never before has there been a shooter so niche and unique in terms of breaking away from the AAA format and the repetitiveness that is the search and destroy game mode. And I cannot express how excited I am to see new people developing that same passion that I've had for close to 4 years now. Hopefully some of you are sharing that experience as well, and I expect to see a ton of new figures playing competitive come launch day. Till that day comes though, I'm gonna continue to stream on Twitch, and I'll be seeing you guys there. And as always, make sure you guys are striving to enjoy peace of mind. We'll see you later.